Coming up today on Western Sports Roundup, for the last couple of years during the National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas in December, they've been honoring the NFR Icons. They just announced a couple more for this year. We'll tell you who they are.
And we're going to take you to Australia, where Optimal Performance Academies training future rodeo superstars that have a dream of coming to America one day, and they're getting a great foundation.
And also, when you look at the world standings right now in the world of professional rodeo, there is a couple races that, well, just to tell you, they're pretty darn tight. They're pretty close. We will have that for you and a lot more coming up on Western Sports Roundup.
Hey, look it.
Make the jump. Oh, he did it. Go, Rusty, go. Oh, my goodness.
And howdy, everybody, to Western Sports Roundup. Justin McKee, along with Ty McClary and the rest of the studio audience. We'd like to welcome them here to the brand new studio up on the hill at the Stockyards, getting ready to bring you a Wednesday edition of the greatest television sports show on earth.
Man, I like that. Way to go, Justin McKee. That is good stuff. Hey, we kick it off today with our Kubota top story of the day. And, of course, as always, it's brought to you by our friends at Kubota. Together, we do more. Justin, I love that you and I get to release this story to the world here on Western Sports Roundup. The NFR Icons for 2026 are named, and they will be honored during the National Finals.
It is an honor to announce this today. Las Vegas Events just released their press release on Bob Tallman and eight-time world champion Fred Whitfield are going to be honored during this year's regular National Finals. It'll be December 4th and 5th performances. Each of the Vegas NFR Icons will be honored right there on the dirt in Thomas and Mack. Then they'll unfurl the banner out of the rafters. Well, they will forever live in infamy.
Yeah, and they will join the rest of the field. You see, as it started back in 2022, if they started this, and of course, these guys will go in there this December. And I just want rodeo fans to think back for just a second, go back a couple of years, and just think about what Bob Tallman and the voice he has had, not only at World Pro Rodeos all across the country, but in Las Vegas. Every rodeo star will tell you, oh man, I just dreamed of the nights I could back in the box or nod my head with Bob Tallman bragging on me. And then what Fred Whitfield did in that arena all those years. Remember the days of him and Cody Old and Joe Beaver battling it out? You talk about some good stuff out of Vegas. That's two pretty good champs there in NFR Icons.
Yep, I tell you, it's a pretty good team right there, too, with Fred Whitfield raising the roof. It's just a wonder that Thomas and Mack held together when he brought the crowd down, along with the encouragement of Bob Tallman all through those years. There you have it, the 2 days they'll be honored during this turn of this 2026 NFR.
Here's the deal, Cowboy Channel fans. I hope you have your TVs tuned in this weekend to the Cowboy Channel, the Guymon Pioneer Days Rodeo, the Hall of Fame Rodeo there in Oklahoma. By the way, it's the only Hall of Fame rodeo in the state of Oklahoma. It is featured this weekend on Cowboy Channel. And of course, if you can't join us on broadcast, it'll always be Cowboy Plus for you. Already slack competition underway. And why don't we bring in the chairman of the rodeo committee in Guymon, of course, one of the voices behind the microphone during the rodeo performances, Ken Stonecipher, joins us here on the show. Ken, welcome to Western Sports Roundup. Hey, buddy, you've already had a couple days of slack competition. Y'all are underway and running in Guymon.
We are underway. Yeah, it's nothing like throwing a party and a little over 1,000 of your best friends come to show up for a week. But yeah, we had the college rodeo last weekend. Panhandle State University holds the last rodeo of the season here in the Henry C. Hitch Pioneer Arena, and then we turn the signs over on Sunday and get started Monday. So we're rodeoing.
Hey, Ken, congratulations on your tenure there. 27 years you've been a part of that board. I think that says a lot about the people in the Panhandle. Truly, that is the greatest attraction out there. And if people want to come to a rodeo, we're going to see real cowboys amongst a community that understands the culture as good as anybody. It's Guymon, Oklahoma.
Yeah, it is cowboy country out here, and we're proud of that aspect of our rodeo. You know, with multiple events in the timed events or multiple go-rounds. We have Frontier Rodeo. Brings a couple of subcontractors, some of the best stock in the business. So we want to make it good every day whenever you enter up in Guymon, and that makes it good for our fans.
Ken, and you speak of the fact that good rodeo contestants show up there. You know, y'all's slogan, where champions come to play, the first weekend in May. You guys hold a pretty high standard to that because world champions scattered all across the day sheets already in the slack. I mean, you had a world champion steer roper win the steer open just yesterday. That will continue through the rodeo performances as well. You guys kind of believe in that there in Guymon.
Well, for sure. You know, this time of year helps us. There's not a lot of big rodeos going on here the first weekend in May, but I think the added money and the level of competition, the level of stock makes it great for the contestants, which is what we want. So we've got a lot of gold buckles strolling around the Henry C. Hitch Pioneer Arena all week long.
Hey, I want to talk more about your community, especially the economic side of the business community there, because Guymon's not a big town. There's not a lot of resources outside of agriculture around Guymon, but everybody participates, so much so you've got free admission on Saturday, Sunday. Talk about your sponsors and Seaboard and what they've done to make this a free professional top 25 rodeo.
Yeah, so Seaboard Foods, one of our presenting sponsors, does a buyout on Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon, which is a great benefit to our community. And, you know, especially if you remember having 4 little kids and trying to afford to go places. So for those folks with families, yeah, there's no excuse not to come out to the rodeo. We've got great sponsor support. The City of Guymon is a great partner with us as well. Three Corners Connector, another one of our presenting sponsors. So we've got them from large and small. There's a spot for everybody. We're only a town of about 12,000 people, so it really takes the entire business community to get behind this event. It's the largest event that happens all year long here in Guymon. You know, the Pioneer Days celebration, not just the rodeo, but other things that go on as well, the carnival, the parade, the mercantile. So we can't say thank you enough to our sponsors. They're partners with us. They're part of the family that makes it all happen.
Ken, to wrap all this up before we let you go, if there's a fan joining us here on Cowboy Channel right now, hearing about Guymon, Oklahoma for the first time and the great rodeo that you guys put on, maybe they live close, maybe they don't, maybe they live far away, but they've got an open weekend and they want to load the family up and come to Guymon, what can they expect to see when they get there?
Well, you're going to see some of the friendliest people in Oklahoma, number one. You're going to see top-notch. We call it like a little NFR in the spring, right? There's lots of world champions, lots of outstanding NFR bucking horses. You're going to see a Cowboys rodeo. We're roping muley cattle in the team roping and in the breakaway roping fresh muley cattle that we just gathered out of the pasture. Brought them to town, showed them the back end, and then we run them. So it'll be a Cowboy deal. It'll be a little slice of Western legacy right here in the Oklahoma Panhandle.
Well, Ken, thank you for joining us. Looks like you're going to have a Chamber of Commerce weather show up for the entire weekend. Mid-70s and sunshine on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Our congratulations to you and your entire community for working hard again to put together the 94th edition of one of America's best cowboy rodeos. Ken, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you guys, and appreciate everybody at the Cowboy Channel for giving us the opportunity to be broadcast. It means a lot to our committee and a lot to rodeo in general, so appreciate all that y'all do. Thank you.
All right, it's live on the Cowboy Channel starting Friday night through the weekend. You can watch it on Cowboy Plus as well. Guymon Pioneer Days will make a huge difference in the world standings when we're done this weekend in Guymon, Oklahoma, out in the Panhandle. So it's springtime. As we talk about Guymon, Oklahoma, you know that the outdoor fun is just beginning across rodeo country all over the nation. It also means that the chuck wagon racers are heating up as well. Yeah, that is right. Right now, let's catch up with our correspondent and expert in the chuck wagon racing field. Here's David Selby with all the latest.
This past weekend, the Arkansas Chuck Wagon Racing Association rolled into Frontier Days in Tuscumbia, Alabama. It's a unique venue, and it has one of the country's most unique restaurants, the Rattlesnake Saloon. After a great start to the season at the Buck Creek Chuck Wagon Races down in Alamo, Tennessee, teams were looking to build on that momentum in a sport where execution is everything, and any mistake will end up in a disqualification. So here are our standings after the second race of the season at Seven Springs Lodge. In the Big Horse Rubber Tire, we had a very close finish between Freight Train and BS Racing. But because BS Racing's Outrider did not finish in front of the wagon, they received a no time, which earned Freight Train a buckle for the weekend, and a tie at the top of our leaderboard. Through the first 2 races of the season, it's Freight Train and Bad Luck in Trouble with 29 points apiece. In the 46-inch mules, it's no surprise Hickory Plains Outlaws continue their dominance. After back-to-back wins at both Buck Creek and Seven Springs, they are sitting with a perfect 30 points. The 46-inch ponies, it's been all Derek Hand so far. Another strong showing at Seven Springs keeps them undefeated, leading the division with 30 points. In the 52-inch mules, our 2025 4-Up Mule National Champions, the Mount Vernon Mulemen, are making a statement early. 2 wins in 2 weekends, that keeps them in first place in the standings, firmly in control of this division as we head deeper into the 9-race season. In our youth spotlight, Levi Tinsley Evans made it out to her first ever chuck wagon race and showed out on her young donkey Poncho. Levi is training for the Big Burrow Shootout at Rafter X Ranch, which will commence on June 20th in Pendleton, South Carolina. Moving over to the 52-inch ponies, we saw some major shakeups in the standings. Freight Train now leads with 28 points, with Running Blind on their heels with 27. In the buckboard division, after sweeping both weekends, Full House is your points leader, sitting at 30 points, but Full Throttle Loca isn't far behind at 28. In previous seasons, these 2 teams have stayed neck at neck. Big Mules, Bad Bougie and Wide Open, they remain in first place with 28 points after another strong performance. But this division is stacked. Seuss Pawn Express, they went from 5th to 2nd place, and Diamond S Express is holding on to 3rd. In the classic 1,000-pound all-wooden wagon division, unlike the big horse rubber tire division, BS Racing was able to get their outrider into position for a big win over Rarin' to Go. But because they couldn't get an outrider to catch at the last race, Rarin' to Go continues to lead the way with 28 points across the first 2 races. It will be fun to see a fast and motivated BS Racing team try to make up some ground as the season continues. Our next stop is Racing on the Ridge at Whiskey Ridge Ranch in Malvern, Arkansas. They run this race over Memorial Day weekend, and they had over 160 teams show up last year, so we're expecting a pretty big turnout. Well, that's all we have for you today. We'll see you out on the track.
Cowboy Channel fans, I'm here to tell you, if you've never witnessed the little chuck wagon racing yourself, you better make plans to visit them in Malvern, Arkansas. May the 19th through the 24th, towards the end of this next month. That's the Race on the Ridge. That's the next chuck wagon event. Whiskey Ridge Ranch, it's where it's located. Folks, you better check them out, whiskeyridgeranch.net. That's all about the chuck wagon racing. And of course, if you stay with us here on Western Sports Roundup, when we look at some of the Pro Rodeo World standings and the races at the top of the leaderboard, it's getting pretty tight here in late April. We'll tell you about it.
And later, we're going to introduce you to Doug Champion. He has taken his Optimal Performance outfit and trainers to Australia. They'll bring the documentation later on.
Western Sports Roundup is brought to you by Resistol, the official hat of the PRCA, and Cowboys everywhere.
Western Sports Roundup is brought to you by Rock and Roll Denim. Live boldly. Live in rock and roll denim.
Here at Cowboy Channel, we've been doing our very best to keep you up to date in the latest information with PRCA World Champion bareback rider Dean Thompson and his battle that he continues through with Burkitt's lymphoma. Remember, he was diagnosed with that back in early April, and it continues for him. He begins phase 2. Got a pretty busy week and a pretty busy few days ahead of him.
Well, and he's been very transparent and open to share the information as he is going through that phase 2 of chemo, as you mentioned, admitted to the hospital yesterday for the start of this. He'll be staying through Monday and getting chemo every day. And we're going to continue to send our prayers as this is going to be a long week. Even the chemo going into the spinal injection. So pretty serious deal, but this is a very serious man who does not give up. And he's got a lot of great support as well.
Yeah, he does. Of course, Kendra Santos right there saying, no hair, don't care. I love that, and I love Dean's heart and where it is. Folks, I want you to see, there's the address. You can send some thoughts, prayers, most importantly, is what he needs. And, of course, he and his family. And I want you fans to realize Dean Thompson isn't asking for help. He's not asking us to do this on Cowboy Channel, but I know he would appreciate your thoughts, prayers. If you want to send some more stuff, that's great. Look him up, Dean Thompson, and find out all the information. And that's exactly right, Justin. We second it here. Go Dean Thompson.
Yeah, we're going to encourage you to get on board right there, and hopefully we can be an encouragement for him and his family as we continue to follow that race right now. All right, now let's talk about some of the tight races in the PRCA. There are 3 events where there's just very little separation between the top 1 or 2 or 3. Let's talk about that, and we begin with the steer wrestling. And there's a new sheriff in town, and he's a 5-time world champion in steer wrestling.
That's a lot thanks to that rodeo right there for Tyler Wagisback, doing very well in San Angelo. Of course, the rodeo itself, the Cinch Shootout. But he's battling it with that young guy right there. That is Holden Myers, the champion of Rodeo Houston. It's kind of the veteran against the young guy. Remember, Holden Myers won Houston and was reserved there last year, but he's got that 5-time world champ. They're battling it out.
How about this? He's chasing world title number 6. These are the numbers, $2.7 million for Wagisback and Holden Myers, just starting his career. But man, he starts it off with a bang. Runner-up for the Houston title last year, wins it this year, and he's right there beside Wagisback. Here's your top 5. Look at that separation, just a few pennies. And man, I hope Mike McGinn gets to his first NFR this year after finishing 16th last year.
Yeah, and of course, Stetson Jorgensen, you see there, he's out with his knee injury for another couple of months. There's Jesse Brown, the top 5. That's where that guy is every year. It doesn't matter for about the last 6 years that he's been to the NFR. He's right there in the top 5 of the world standings. Of course, he just won San Angelo. He and Wags were battling it out in San Angelo.
Let's talk about some saddle bronc riding right now. I've got a deja vu moment going on as we're talking about Stetson Wright at number 1 and his brother Rusty Wright number 2. Why do I feel like we've been here before?
We seem like we're here every weekend, it seems like to me, right?
Well, that's part of it, but it was last year when the Wrights finished number 1, number 2, number 3 in the world standings. Statler Wright winning the world title. Ryder was number 2, Stetson was number 3, and here we are again with a very similar story.
By the way, they did that at Logandale, Nevada just a couple of weeks ago where they finished 1, 2, 3 at the rodeo. Okay, Stetson Wright, everybody knows him. Number 1 in the world, of course, number 1 in the all-around race as well. But the story that Rusty Wright is putting together for us this season, I can't wait to see how this goes all year long. He's a 5-time qualifier to the NFR. He's the one that's never won the world championship, though. Battled the injuries, came back from some huge career movements in his life outside the arena, and he's been sharing that as well with us. Look at how close he and Stetson are, number 1 and number 2. Stetson at 152,000, Rusty right behind him.
And look at the monster gap. That's like the Grand Canyon between those two guys and Kate Bruno and the rest of the guys in the saddle bronc riding. Real separation right there in the bronc riding. Let's talk about the bareback riding. We've got 3 guys at the top of this year's world standings and only 5,000 separating.
Bradley Miller, Wacy Shala, Rocker Steiner. Of course, Rocker, the reigning champion of the world. Wacy Shala, we were talking about him mostly in bull riding the last couple of years. Of course, remember, he went to the finals last season in both events, the bull riding and the bareback riding, and threatened Stetson in that all-around race. Bradley Miller, we know what he's done over the last handful of years. This is a fun one as well. Bradley Miller is just so technical every single time he gets on. He's a 2 times to the National Finals Rodeo. There's Wasey, just 1 trip in the bareback, 2 trips in the bull riding. And of course, your reigning world champ just following right up with that World Championship gold buckle, having another great season.
Another great season. Wasey, Charlotte in that all-around race. And I think still today, every week, he's getting better as a bareback rider. Can't wait to see what he's going to get done and how he's going to look, how far he's going to climb by the end of the season. Again, the separation after number 3 between number 3 and Jacob Lees, it is a big one. So things are really stacking up pretty high on the chips there at the top.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. So we'll continue to watch those World Standings race as well. So you stay tuned right here at Cowboy Channel and Western Sports Roundup, and we'll do our best all summer long to see what those World Standings look like, especially at the top. And of course, we invite you to stay with us here on Western Sports Roundup. We have got so much more coming up. We're going to introduce you to Doug Champion. Oh my goodness, he just went to Australia, his academy, and everything that he's got going on with that. We're going to tell you the story when we return. You won't want to miss it.
This school is changing it. What Oberon Rodeo Association is doing is changing the landscape of rodeo in Australia for the better.
You're about to meet Doug Champion. He is in charge of Champion Living Fitness and Optimal Performance Academy, where he's been training for the last several years young rodeo athletes with a big dream of hitting the PRCA trail sometime soon. He builds a foundation, and recently he took his training along with his cameras to Australia to hopefully open the door for young rodeo athletes in that country to live the American dream one day.
Everybody sees the glory shots, how cool the rodeos are and stuff, but not everybody sees how strenuous and tough it is on the body.
There's a line between being tough and being reckless.
'Cause I'm getting stronger. And I'm getting faster. Now look what I'm after. Nothing can break me. Nothing can break me.
Just go here, get in here and get out before she goes down again, okay? Just be smooth though, okay? Be smooth. Be aggressive right here. Everything you have. Lift to the top of your head. Great spur out right here.
This is a sport that it's all or nothing. You don't give up. Like you can't be weak.
Now
you
go.
have to
Lift.
give everything that you got.
To the top of your head.
if I get a fire underneath of you, or if Tim gets a fire underneath of you, you're gonna remember that and you're gonna relate back to it to where, hey, this is what we're supposed to do, right? You go back to your fundamentals.
Stay square, shoulders right down. You can put your free hand here, wherever you want, but keep your shoulders square with your saddle.
Well, I feel like with the kids being a little grittier and a little tougher, you're not having to, have conversations about nerves and fear. It's more about getting them to be able to use their aggression and channel it into some technique instead of just go out there and try as hard as you can. Like you've always got you got to have the effort, but when you can put the effort into putting out the effort to execute the proper technique, it comes together to where now you start seeing some really good rides.
And so the YouTube version of that documentary with Champion Living is going to be released tonight, and we've got a very special guest. Doug Champion himself is going to join us to talk about the documentary, the experience, and the entire international flavor that he's got going on to promote rodeo and how to develop these athletes to a fine-tuned machine. Doug Champion, we've got a lot to talk about in a short amount of time, but you are a globe-trotting, spreading the word of how the values of the cowboy can really advance people in Australia here recently.
Yes, sir, man. Appreciate you guys having me on tonight. It was it's an incredible experience. It's our second time going over there, and it all started from social media of all things. We had I got a message randomly from a lady named Bree Rowlandson, and she was the president of a rodeo association over there, and she was extremely keen to have us there and to help them evolve the sport there. Just looking back at Australian athletes, we've had a numerous amount of them come to the U.S. right now, and Damian Brennan being one. Just look at the bareback riding. Toby Dudney is riding really well, is going to be possibly making the NFR this year. So there's a lot of talent there, and there isn't a lot of resources. So this has been a really cool experience for us to go over there and take what we've created and help evolve their sport. And more than that, give these guys a pathway to come over to the United States and go to the PRCA rodeos.
Doug, your program and what you've been doing has been around in the States for quite a few years now, but this was your first time over in Australia. I know it's only been a couple of months ago that you were there and put all this together, but what's been the feedback so far since you were just there?
Yeah, so it's actually our second time there. We went 2 years ago, and this time, just to shift your question a little bit, we got to see the evolution of the first time to the second time. The first time is very similar to our first experiences here. Guys were questioning if this was real, if we could really help people in 4 days really change their career. And after the first experience there, this time we had 60 kids signed up, literally had a waiting list for everybody. And the feedback has been incredible, so incredible that we just received word not too long ago that this is going to be an annual thing for us to go there. And we're actually going to be teaming up with their rodeo association in Australia to help build some curriculum and teach these guys how to become professional rodeo athletes from the ages of about 13 and 14 all the way to the elite ranks.
Doug, I want to hear from you about vision. I want to hear about your earliest vision as you put together Champion Living Fitness and the Optimal Performance Academy. Tell me about that vision and if there's been an evolution into a different direction, or has it been pretty much what you had thought about at the beginning?
The vision was to give young rodeo athletes that had a dream of making the NFR, had a dream of being a professional at this, give them the resources they needed to learn at an early age and not have to do this so much of a school of hard knocks. There are so many things that you have to learn to make an NFR, to be a world champion, that can only come from experience in the sport. If we figured as coaches, all being previous rodeo athletes, if we can share these things with the next generation and shorten these learning curves, we're just increasing the length of each career. We're helping each person get as far as they want to at an earlier age. And the direction isn't changing at all. It's actually been really affirming. What we're seeing is when we first did this, we said, if the students here do these things consistently, the professional skills, the fitness, the skill-specific skills, whether it's riding bucking horses, bulls, whatever that is, they do that consistently for 3 years. Someone will be close to making the NFR. 2 guys in our first group ever, Sage Allen and Darian Johnson. Sage Allen was the Rookie of the Year in the bareback riding in 2025, and for other circumstances, he would have been at the NFR, I believe, without the injuries that he had last year. So this year was a really eye-opening moment for us because the proof is in the pudding. It works.
It definitely works. And that vision that you just speak of has turned into so much more now, and actually making rodeo cowboys and cowgirls athletes out of them. And not only athletes, but stars. I mean, I feel like that's kind of what we're all trying to do at Cowboy Channel, and what your program is a part of. They do it in football, they do it in basketball, they do it in every other sport. Why don't we elevate them in the rodeo industry, in the Western way of life? And your program and your deal is a huge part of doing exactly that.
Yeah, it is, man. And this is the one place you can come and you will learn the proper strength and conditioning for your event. You will learn about nutrition, not just at the house, but how to do this on the road, because the road is not a perfect environment, as we all know. There's a lot of variables that are popping up. So we teach you how to manage all these things on the road. Beyond that, they're learning about the budgeting, how to manage their money on the road. No one talked to me about this when I got my permit, or I was 18 to 22 years old. I'm 36 now and barely just started thinking about it, right? Yeah. So the biggest thing, and something you just mentioned, Ty, was making these athletes good ambassadors for the sport of rodeo, and also teaching them about what sponsors are looking for when they're partnering with athletes. And just to touch on sponsorship, we've had some really cool companies team up with us: Cinch, Turtlebox, the PRCA, Hui, and they are all teaming up to help this next generation. So they're seeing the value in what we're doing, and the value in bringing these athletes up the right way and making stars out of them, like you guys are saying.
I want to talk about the future, because as you are telling the story, I'm imagining you going to inner cities with this program and getting people who maybe don't even have cowboy roots into the arena where they can maybe find themselves, find what they are interested in athletically. Is that part of the future?
Oh, I love that you said that, Justin. That kind of tees up. I had a recent conversation this morning with Joe Frost, and we were talking about just the difference in these younger athletes that are showing up to our schools, their athletic ability, whether they've been around horses or livestock or not. And he had 2 boys recently come to his school, never been around rodeo. They're from the city. They're from an urban area, and they have a ton of athletic background. They've wrestled, they've run track, they've played football, basketball, every other sport. For the longest time, I've been theorizing that if young athletes could have a variation in how they were brought up in their athletics, develop their coordination in way different ways than just rodeo, we can teach you the perfect mechanics to ride a bucking horse or a bull. Developing the athletic ability and the strength and agility and mobility to do that is going to take time. If someone comes to us with all of those 3 things checked off, and we're just teaching you how to do the mechanics perfectly, well, they can get on the stationary drills and do those perfectly because they're actually strong enough to do them. What we see a lot of times is kids get there, they're excited, but they're physically not able to do the drills that are going to help them, because it'll wear them out before we get a couple of reps in. So I would love the opportunity to go to these inner city areas and teach some of these athletes about rodeo and these kids about rodeo and what being a cowboy is all about.
You are building my dream, by the way. I mean, for you to be able to do that, even have the conversation about this, is something I've been thinking about for several decades.
Yeah, that is for sure, Doug. And as we think about this, something you just said, maybe the most important thing we've mentioned on this entire show today here on Western Sports Roundup, and that is the fact that when we speak about the future, that's what holds everything together, right? I don't care if it's our country, if it's our sport of rodeo that we love so much, but the future and the young ones coming up to get involved, if they don't learn the right way from the get-go and what you guys are doing with your program and what you're teaching from them, they may step in and step right back out quickly, and we never hear from them again. But if they can learn the right way from the ground up, not only their health, their athletic ability, and learn the right basic skills, that's what will keep them involved in the sport. Am I right in saying that?
That's it, man. That is it. That's all it is. And, we see all these elite athletes now, Stetson, Rocker, Ryder, all the rights, and what happens when they're done? We have to have another version of them. We have to teach these young athletes that have talent how to be acting like professional rodeo athletes. I think you said it earlier, Ty, like every other sport has this. Every other sport has a development program, a feeder system, if you will. Rodeo is still, we're figuring it out. It's still an individualized thing, but with more opportunities and resources like we're putting here, I think that the sky's the limit. And with the sport evolving the way it is, we're only going to see the increase in the people being interested in it go up. And so I think that with this, our dream is to expand this to more of these than one time a year, and to have an actual facility that we can have in place, that we can have rodeo athletes year round coming in and training and becoming better.
Doug, I spent a lot of time out on the road speaking to agriculture groups and to rodeo groups, especially rodeo committees. My message a lot of the times is the same. Tell your story. Tell the story. Moving pictures. Take the videos and let the world know. You're doing that as well. I love this story because you are sharing it. You took a team with you to Australia. You've documented this. I mentioned that the YouTube version of this documentary is coming out tonight. I want to tell us about how you put that together and the big release of this documentary tonight.
Yeah, so we try to document everything, and it's all self-funded, but to me, from the very beginning, it was that important to have some kind of historical documentation of what happened from day one of us ever thinking this up to taking this across seas to Australia. And when we went over there, the whole point of this film is to show everybody what the differences are really between the environments in Australia compared to here. But also it's going to highlight just the difference in these guys are tough, man. These kids are extremely tough. The life is different there. Most kids don't go to college. Most of these kids here have been working since they're 17, 18 years old. Some of them have their own businesses, and they are hungry for a way of life over here. And you're going to see that throughout this whole video. I think Chase Blythe is who created this, and his vision for any of the documentaries that we put together has been incredible. He shows the entire journey, and really a lot of the highlight here is showing about the adding the bullfighting in. But you're going to see little clips. We got to do an appearance on the Today Show there and talk to them about what we're doing for the athletes in Australia. So it was a great experience. It's an incredible experience. The people there they're unreal. They're like my family now, and we can't wait to get back there in January.
Doug, this is so awesome. And of course, you've got so many other events coming up. I know you got a big event coming up in June right there in Colorado Springs at the home of the NFR Open at the Penrose Norris Event Center. That's a big one, folks. You need to look up Doug Champion. If you don't know anything about Champion Living Fitness and, of course, Optimal Performance Agency, you need to look that up. Doug, thanks for joining us here on the show.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
All right, check out YouTube. That is Champion Living Fitness and Optimal Performance Academy. Take a ride with them through the early stages of developing rodeo athletes recently in Australia. Stick around. When we come back, we're going to take you to another country. We're going north of the border for a very unique event from Coleman, Alberta, right here on Western Sports Roundup.
As normal, Cowboy Plus app is busy this week. Of course, you've got lots to see. Not only the American West Regionals out in Las Vegas, of course, the semifinal rounds, that's all getting underway this week. That's the final opportunity, by the way, for folks to qualify into that $2 million American Rodeo later on in May. And, of course, Guymon Pioneer Days. If you can't watch it on broadcast on Cowboy Channel, you can catch it on the app May the 1st through the 3rd.
And there's another rodeo that will be on Cowboy Plus as Kananaskis, Alberta, just southwest of Calgary, right straight down from Banff. You talk about some beautiful country right there in the mountains, and they've already got a leaderboard put together.
Yes, they definitely do. Of course, you're exactly right, Justin. Banff and that part of the world is beautiful. Just had a friend go there not too long ago and said it was some of the prettiest country he'd seen. And, of course, that's the way they do it right there in Coleman, Alberta, Canada at the rodeo this past weekend. And when you look at it, Chet Dietz, your champion, look at there, pocketed a little over $1,300, 85 points for him. He kind of likes this rodeo. He won it on Dwayne Kessler's rodeo, Sleeping Giant. He was third a year ago at this rodeo, so he seems to like going to Coleman, Alberta, Canada.
Ty McClary, way to go digging up the good stuff there in the homeward category. Nicely done. Tip your hat. That
Thank you.
was great.
Appreciate
Here
it.
comes Ryan Shuckberg. It's a 4-7 last weekend in the steer wrestling. And, of course, he's got the slide, he's got the glide, and he's got the slam. $2,335. Hey, pretty good payday up at that little Coleman, Alberta show.
And, of course, that's pretty important for him because when you look at the world standings, he's number 18 in the world right now. But because of the PRCA and the way the office system works, it takes a little bit for the Canadian money when they win it across the border to get put into the system. He might even be in the top 15 in the world right now.
Well, it's a saddle bronc ride that's going to get him 86.5. We're talking about Blaine Pingley on double red, and this is a good Dwayne Kessler bucking horse and a good young cowboy putting together pretty good score.
I'll tell you how good that horse is, Justin McKee. That's the one to have in Kananaskis Pro Rodeo because they won that rodeo a year ago on Dwayne Kessler's Rodeo Red. Comes back this year. Blaine does it again for 86.5 points to get it 2 years in a row on the same horse.
How about some tie-down roping? We'll go to Cooper Resch with a 9-9. He gets an impressive paycheck. Roping old school Herefords there in Canada last weekend.
Boy, that's the way you like it. And, of course, the Resch family, you all know them up there across the border. They're cowboys now. They're pickup men at a lot of rodeos up there, that family. Well, it goes right on with young Cooper Resch. He's pretty handy with that poly rope in his hand, roping that Hereford like you just told him, Justin. Just a little shy of 10 seconds even for Cooper to get the championship there and win him a pretty good little paycheck.
Here's another big rodeo family from Canada, the Milan family, and leave it to Chelsea to turn and burn. I mean fast. Look at the time here. 12.76 to get over $2,000, and that run was flawless.
Okay, here's the deal. I know a lot of you are saying, well, how in the world do they get that fast in the barrel racing? You can see it's a small indoor arena. Of course, it's Canada, so that's a good idea in April to have it indoors. You never know that far up north what the weather's going to be. Yes, that's the reason why. Sub 13-second runs, super small pattern, really tight between those barrels. But it doesn't matter how small of a pattern it was. Chelsea Milan was the best when she left out of the arena.
And in the bull riding, it was an 84 score, the top score. There's a pair of them at the top. Lucas Dunnan and Dwayne Kessler Rodeos down with the devil. Going to go 84 points. They're going to split the first place money. And there it is. We got two guys at the top.
Yeah, Oz and Core is the other one. Dwayne Kessler, Rodeos, Perlick Brothers, Fallen Angel. Two 84-point rides. Both of them win them a little bit over $1,200. So congratulations to them. And hey, all this does, folks, whether you're in the Canadian circuits or you're trying to make the National Finals Rodeo, doesn't matter. Every bit of that money counts, and it adds up before the end of the season.
Everybody's thinking about the Canadian finals, that's for sure, and a big jump in those standings after these big checks. Stick around. When we come back, we're going to talk to PBR. The big Velocity Tour Finals is coming to Corpus Christi, and Wyatt Rogers will join us as he's trying to stay in the top 3 so he can move on to the big show. Coming up this weekend in Corpus Christi, Texas, the PBR Pendleton Whiskey Velocity Tour Finals is going to take place, and there's a lot at stake. The top three of the year-end standings are going to have a shot at the PBR World Finals the following 2 weekends here in the Fort Worth area. They're going to take the aggregate champion and the international champion, which means there's 5 spots out of this big tour finale in Corpus Christi, and a guy who is in the race to possibly make the cut like he has done before is Wyatt Rogers from Oklahoma. He is currently making his way down to Texas on his way to Corpus Christi to make that top 3 appearance. He's number 4 in the standings right now. Wyatt Rogers, welcome to Western Sports Roundup.
Perfect. Thank y'all for having me.
Hey, you bring a lot of experience into this situation and this finals. Talk about the last few years and what's at stake for you personally and professionally coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I've been kind of the underdog my whole professional life, being a bigger bull rider, and it's nothing new for me to have to come chase my way and earn my way on tour. And I've been fortunate to make the World Finals 2 times and not necessarily have to go through the Velocity Tour, but we had a great start to the Velocity Tour season, then went to the Unleash the Beast for 12 weeks, and now we're going to go back, and we barely missed a cut on the UTV Tour and try to finish it off here at the finals.
So Justin just shared with our fans that the top 3 from this event this weekend, of course, when the standings are all complete after the event, will go to the PBR World Finals, the international champion and the average champion there. Now, you obviously stand a chance to be in those top 3 or the average champ. If an international champ doesn't do any good, that opens up another spot for you guys. But Wyatt, as Justin just mentioned, you've been in this situation before, but if you look at the top 20, like 19 or 20 of y'all in the Velocity Tour standings, it's relatively close from top to bottom. What have you got to do this weekend on a couple bulls in Corpus Christi to assure your spot?
My job's simple. I just got to go down there and ride all 3 bulls. If I do that, I will definitely be going to the PBR World Finals. And, yeah, there's over 340 points, I think, available at the finals. And I'm only 155, I think, behind Grayson. And then to catch the second place guy, I'm only 20 points behind him. So you get 40 points just for winning a round. And my first round bull is definitely a tough one, but he's one that you're going to be close to 90 on. So looking forward to that matchup and have a great chance to start the weekend off right.
Let's talk about your training leading up to this finals. Have you been doing anything any different than a normal week getting ready for this big finale?
I've been trying to lose weight a lot, and I've just been kind of criticized about that for a while now, and doing a lot of weight loss training. Unfortunately, I hurt my groin 2 weeks ago at Idaho Falls at the end of the year, and had to miss this last weekend to get some points at Perry, but kind of just rehabbing that and getting everything under control and ready to go this weekend.
Okay, Wyatt, I got to stick with that for just a second because bull riding fans know groin injuries to bull riders can be pretty tough. With that being said, you're headed to Corpus right now to get started this weekend. How is that groin feeling going into this Velocity Tour finale weekend?
It feels really good. It's miraculously better over the last week. I tried to go to Knoxville, Tennessee. It was a one-day event, and tried to make that work and didn't. I bucked off my bull. Wasn't really the groin's fault, but definitely needed a weekend off, so I made the decision to skip Perry and go into the finals healthy as I could be.
Let's talk about the format there. Potentially, you talked about 3 bulls. I'd like to also ask you about the points in the go-rounds. If you don't place in the aggregate, can you get enough go-round points to maybe stay in that top 3?
Yeah, they doubled the points at the finals, basically, so you can get 40 points just for winning a round, and then you get your score bonus. If you're in the 80s, you get an extra 8 points, or if you're in the 90s, you get an extra 9. So possibly 49 points up for grab just in the rounds, and there's 3 rounds, so that could definitely get me in as close as I am in the shot at making it, and you just never know what will happen even if you get 1 bull road down there.
Wyatt, there's no doubt in my mind that you can't make it through this weekend. You've been in these predicaments before. We've seen you do it. We've seen you come through. Not only do I wish you good luck in the Velocity Tour Finals in Corpus Christi this weekend, but I'll just go ahead and say good luck when you advance on to the PBR World Finals next week as they get started here in Fort Worth a week after this. So congratulations on the year you've already had, hopefully the year you're going to continue to have. And Wyatt, thanks for joining us here on Western Sports Roundup.
Perfect. Thank you for having me. Look forward to seeing you on Fort Worth.
You betcha. That sounds good. That is PBR bull rider Wyatt Rogers trying to make his way through another Velocity Tour Finals, which is this weekend, folks, in Corpus Christi. That's the Pendleton Whiskey Velocity Tour finale, May the 1st and 2nd. The top 5 basically will move on to the PBR World Finals. Stay with us. We've got more to get to on the other side of this timeout. Well, if you're busy this weekend and you can't join us on broadcast television, we'll tell you what's happening on our Cowboy Plus app. Of course, we like to call it our Rodeo Radar. What are we looking forward to? Guymon, Oklahoma. We talked to Ken Stonecipher earlier in the show. They've had the slack competition. Rodeo performances get underway Friday night at 8:30 Eastern Time. You can catch it all here on Cowboy.
And if you like extreme bull riding, Cactus Jack Extreme Bull Riding event from Uvalde, Texas will be taking place May 1 and 2 on Cowboy. Plus, there's always some rides in the 90-point range there at the Cactus Jack.
The American Rodeo, the last regional way to qualify into the big show, is taking place in Las Vegas this weekend, South Point Arena, April 30th and May 1st. That is what is happening on our Rodeo Radar.
Time for our top 3 Veterans headlines of the day. Clean, treat, and heal. And man, we've had some good headline stories today.
Yes, we have, including a couple tight races in the world standings. We told you about the saddle bronc riding, the steer wrestling, and the bareback riding. That is going to continue, I can assure you, all summer long.
And David Selby told us about the chuck wagon season as they are getting ready to head to Malvern, Arkansas. And all of these races going very fast and accumulating big points.
Las Vegas events have announced the NFR icons that will be displayed this December. It's Bob Tallman, Fred Whitfield, a huge honor for them and very well deserved.
For Ty McCleary, I'm Justin McKee. Thank you for riding along with us. We'll see you next time.